Hi, welcome back to the high school session 2. This is a mindfulness titled session. So yesterday we learned about mindful self-compassion. We'll revisit that a little bit today, and then we'll move on to what mindfulness is and do some mindfulness practices. So today's recording will be somewhat similar to yesterday's in that I'll talk a little bit, you'll journal or draw a little bit. There'll be a bit more movement and a few meditations and practices. And as before, I encourage you to meet your needs, take care of yourself, turn off the recording, stand up, take a break, stretch, go for a walk, resume the recording when you're ready. Give your full attention to this. Try your best to do the practices to the best of your ability. Remember, and I will remind you as we go through this, that you can choose to do the practices or meditations with your eyes closed, your eyes open, gazing at something in the room, even listening to sounds that are in the room or outside of the room. So someplace that you can hang your attention and your breath as you go through this. As always, we're going to begin with an opening meditation. I don't know who you are, many of you. I may never get to meet you. I hope I do someday in person. So for now, we are online. And this is even a recording, so I really can't even see the live you. You can't see the live me. So I encourage you to meet your needs, keep yourself safe, do what feels right for you. Listen to your body, listen to your heart, and do what's right for you. Let's begin with an opening meditation. This will be a grounding meditation with a little bit of the things we learned yesterday as well. And we'll take about 5 minutes for that. So you're sitting upright, your feet are on the floor, your hands are in your lap, and your eyes may be closed or open, gazing at something in the room. Let's begin. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Taking a deep belly breath, filling your belly into your lungs. Enjoying the feel of that expansion and letting it go when you are ready. With each belly breath in, filling, holding, and with each breath out, releasing and letting go. Allowing your body to relax just a little more, letting go of tension and tightness. Breathing in with a deep belly breath, filling, expanding, and then letting go. Now bringing your breathing to just a normal breathing pattern. No need to control it or change it. Just allow your body to breathe as it knows how, and you will just simply observe with kindness and curiosity. Drop your attention into your body, noticing your feet on the ground, feeling your feet, touching the carpeting or the shoes or the surface that they are touching. Notice the softness, the roughness, the scratchiness, the temperature. You can even zero in on your big toe. And see what's going on there. Do you notice any sensations such as tingling, pulsing? Meanwhile, we're breathing in and we're breathing out. While we notice our toe. Now travel your attention up into your belly. Noticing the breath as it comes in and out, and noticing, are you tightening and tensing in your belly? As you breathe out, are you able to relax it and let it go? Thankful for all of the work our digestive system does for us to keep us healthy. Breathing in and out. If you notice thoughts, that's all right. Just allow your thoughts to drift on by. Bring your attention kindly back to your breath. You can bring your attention into your shoulders, your jaw, your forehead. And breathe into those areas. Continuing to let go of tension or tightness. And with the next breath, open your eyes and notice what's in the room around you. This is another way to ground in physically with your senses of sight. Noticing shapes, and colors, and lines. Maybe there's something in this room that's really pleasant for you to gaze at. Maybe there's pieces in this room that you appreciate and enjoy. As you turn your head, you can do a bit of a 360 scan. And looking the other way, feeling your feet on the ground as you breathe and look around you. Take another nice big breath in, and we'll prepare to end this meditation. So welcome. Notice how you're feeling right now, what your body feels like, what you discovered as you did that reflection. Notice the state of your thoughts. Is your mind busy and racing like a race car? Is it quieter, like a city street, or even quieter, like a country road? It's all okay. It's just a matter of noticing. We notice our mind as a race car. We can do something about that, as we talked about yesterday. We can take care of ourselves in whatever way that we need, taking a break kindly. So we're going to do a little check here with what we've talked about. I'm going to back up here a moment, I believe, for today. Looking at our home practice. Remember, I reminded you to try to make a plan to practice every single day. So check yourself. Did you do that? If you didn't do it, can you do it today? Pick your time and your place to do it. And you had a couple of meditations to practice, a moment for me and compassionate friend. And I did just add these to my website as well, Teens Just Breathe. And so you'll be able to check out my website, check emails if you're getting emails from me, or check the handout link. It's linked to that as well. Let's move forward into today. Today is called Paying Attention on Purpose. And you will need these two items today besides your handout for day 2. So if you are on my email list as a class, you should have gotten this handout. And if you don't have it, you could always check and see if you have it, or you can use a piece of paper and I'll direct you what to do with your journal writing today. But it's important that you give yourself time to stop these recordings as we go through to process what we learned. And so often we just want to rush through things and get it done, but I urge you to not do that with this class. You really need to take the time to experience it, to slow it down and be with it. That's what mindfulness is all about. So you're going to need a stone or some kind of an item that you can hold on to that fits in the palm of your hand. So I actually do have a Petoskey stone. I've done a lot of collecting of those over the years. So this one fits nicely in my hand for what we're gonna do later. And then you're gonna need, traditionally it's a raisin. And usually if we're at a live class, I hand out the raisins, but I can't do that this time. So you're gonna need, after the break, you're going to need a raisin, or maybe you like dried fruit better, or maybe you have on hand a apple you could slice a piece of, or a segment of an orange, or something healthy. The big word here is healthy. So yes, you might like to eat and savor a piece of candy, but I would really appreciate it if you would find some kind of a healthy snack. And it doesn't have to be something you necessarily love eating either. You might be surprised. All right, so let's end that, come back. And now that you know your materials that you should have on hand and what you're going to need, I'll give you time later if you don't have it now to go ahead and begin. So your handout, in the very first thing that you're going to work on and listen to is a sound meditation. And I really hope that the bell is coming through on this. I might even, I think it will, because I forgot to plug in my microphone, so it might be a little bit loud with my air conditioner right now. I'll leave it unplugged for now, and then I will plug it back in and hope that you're not being too bothered by my air conditioner in the background. All right, so at any rate, you'll be able to hear the bell a little bit better. So we're going to do something called a sound meditation. And the reason for that is when we're practicing mindfulness, this idea of paying attention on purpose with patience and curiosity. And the opposite of that is autopilot, where you just mindlessly go through your day and you're not sure what you did or when you did it. You don't know if you put the cream rinse on your hair or not. You are not paying attention when you're brushing your teeth or washing your dishes. That's autopilot, just not thinking, mindless instead of mindful. So when we train for a class in mindfulness, we train in using our senses. We have 5 of them. So we've got sight, we've already experienced that. We've got sound, we've got smell, we have taste, we have touch. We're going to use all of those senses during this lesson today. All right, so that being said, prepare yourself to do probably a 5-minute meditation right now. So you can sit upright, feet on the floor or cross-legged, eyes are closed, or you can have them open and gazing at an object as your focus point. So let's begin. I will guide you through this sound meditation. Listening to the sound of the bell. See if you can hear when it ends and stops. We're going to try that again, and this, once again, listen to the sound of the bell. And when you can't hear it anymore, if your eyes are closed, open your eyes, and I'll direct you to do that in a bit. So you're listening to the sound of the bell on purpose. Notice how difficult that is for you. Right now, your eyes might be open and you can notice how easy or difficult was that for you to pay attention on purpose. You just experienced mindfulness, paying attention on purpose. I imagine you did it somewhat kindly for yourself because you were paying attention and you were trying to listen to the sound of that bell, which I hope came across on the recording. Let's close our eyes again and I'll guide you to some more listening. So eyes are closed. We're going to open our field of sound and attention to any of the noises in the room. What can you hear? I imagine you can hear my air conditioner. But if I didn't call it an air conditioner, what would the sound be? What adjectives might I use? Whir, rumble, grumble. And in your room, what sounds can you hear? As you breathe in and out, you might hear a bird, but if you couldn't use the noun bird, what adjective would that sound like? Chirp, peep. See if you can be really curious to the sounds around you. And rather than labeling, see if you can come up with description words instead, adjectives. Breathing in and breathing out and listening for the sounds in the room and then outside of the room. Take a breath and open your eyes. I'd like you to take a look now at the box on your handout and just write down, what did you hear? What were the descriptions? Instead of the bird, you might have heard a chirp or a peep. Instead of the air conditioner, you might have heard a whir or a grumble. See if you can stop this recording for a moment and just write down what you heard. And then notice the difficulty or ease of noticing the sounds around you. You might even notice, I might not have ever paid attention before in that way. And so what use would mindfulness have in that regard with mindful listening? So go ahead and turn off or stop the recording for a moment so you can do that. Make sure you do your writing. And I'll wait a moment for you to do that. And I would normally have people take 3, 4, 5 minutes. So take your time. All right, welcome back now. We're going to move on with this mindfulness segment and take a quick look at the brain and see how the brain and mindfulness fit together. Mindfulness has been researched for probably 40 years now, and as you've probably heard on the news, mindfulness is recommended for so many health ailments, for mental health issues, physical health issues, there's just every realm you can think of. Mindfulness actually rewires and changes our brain after a pretty short period of practice. But like I said the other day, that if you don't practice, you won't see any changes. It's like weightlifting. If you don't actually lift the weights, you're not going to see a muscle develop. Our brain is like a muscle. The more we use particular routes and pathways, the stronger that pathway gets. The more we can grow positive, healthy learning habits for us, and the more we can extinguish or lessen those habits that are not so healthy for us, such as thinking too much or rumination. So there's several parts of the brain that I'm going to highlight here, one being the amygdala. And we'll also use the hand. So my little thumbnail here is going to represent the amygdala of our brain. It's also here located at the base of our brain, at the back of our head, and it is left over from prehistoric days. It is what keeps us safe. It's what caused us to evolve and stay alive. So it has had a really important function, and it still does. But in today's age, when we are so on the go and multitasking and so overwhelmed and so stressed all of the time, we don't have that natural time to rewire, like lights out when the sun goes down. So we're in a constant state of fight or flight, which is what the amygdala does when it takes over. So what's important to know with mindfulness is that it's not something we necessarily have control over. It's automatic reflex. So let's say our body notices that we're getting tense. We flip our lid and the amygdala is in control, fight, flight, or freeze. We are having a strong emotion. We flip our lid, we're in fight, flight, or freeze. So this is the part of our brain that's trying to keep us safe, but it actually is probably very overreactive in most of us. In fact, they say sometimes we are up to 50% of our day in the amygdala. And given what's happening with COVID-19 right now, we might have that amygdala firing all of the time. There's lots of fear and uncertainty. We have all of the issues going on in our world and our country right now, which causes a lot of fear and uncertainty. And when that's present, our amygdala is in charge. And if you've ever had the occasion to say things or do things that you wish you could take back, you wish you wouldn't have, it's because of fight or flight. Now, I will tell you too that the amygdala does serve a purpose. It's there to keep us safe. So there could be a really good reason why your amygdala is taking over. But it's something that you need to assess. And mindfulness is beautiful because if we do some breathing, we can calm the amygdala, bring our prefrontal cortex here, our higher level CEO of the brain, back in charge. And it is the part that's responsible for higher level thinking skills, analyzing, judging, comparing, contrasting, and all of the things we need to do as we grow and make better decisions. It's also the place of responsible, reflective decision making. The opposite of that is the amygdala that's reactive. Someone says something to hurt you, you shoot it back at them. You get mad when you're younger, you might hit them, shout at them, scream at them, slam the door, whatever it might be. So when we breathe, we know from science that it brings that amygdala calm, brings us back online, and allows us to make better, responsible decisions, which is what we desperately need in our world today. People who are not triggered all the time and in a reactive mode. So you all, I think, are the hope of our generation, of our future, of learning this type of information so that you can learn to calm yourself, be aware when you are being triggered, and take steps like we talked about last time of taking care of yourself. Another critical piece for you all right now is, as a teen, your brain is in the biggest growth cycle of your life, except when you were about 3 or 4. So basically, your limbic system, which is partially your amygdala and responsible for emotions, is finished developing by about the age of 14, sometimes 15. So that means you have full emotional range and capability, which can seem very overwhelming, like roller coaster-ish kind of overwhelming. Meanwhile, your prefrontal cortex, the CEO part, is growing dramatically, and it will not be done wiring until you're 25 to 29 years old. So that's like you have all of the gas, but not enough of the brakes. So that's why you might feel these roller coaster emotions that go on in your teenage years, making it even more challenging. An even better reason to practice mindfulness. That information is on your handout. So mindfulness, what is it? It's paying attention on purpose, not autopilot, with kindness, patience, and generosity. So let's take, this is a doctor who I believe he's a pediatrician, but he also has written books on teens and leads really great mindfulness sessions for teens.
Before I tried mindfulness, I felt threatened. all the time.
Really disillusioned with life.
Confused,
Tired, stressed, frustrated.
scattered all over the place.
Wow. Anxiety over the future. Worried. It was kind of taking over my life.
I tried mindfulness because I felt stressed out. I was very concerned with the future and what my day was going to look like tomorrow and everything that was happening.
My life was always about what happened in the past and what's going to happen in the future. So by doing mindfulness, I live much more in the now. It's just a different approach to life.
We all experience difficult challenges in our life, like stress, pain, and depression. Mindfulness can give us resilience to rise above those challenges and live life more fully. Mindfulness is a particular type of meditation where we bring our awareness to the present moment. We can let go of the past, let go of the future, live life more fully and joyfully.
We all are too busy. I think it's a thing, but everybody's just so busy all the time right now.
You always have something that you have to do, or you're always going towards a certain goal. And mindfulness is just taking a moment to look at your life without any expectations.
Take time for yourself rather than getting carried off on all the daily activities that you have.
Mindfulness can be practiced by anyone, no matter what your religion, your age, or your background. We don't have to wait until we have time to do like a formal sitting meditation to practice mindfulness. We can bring that same mindful awareness to any activity that we're doing through our daily lives. So walking can be a meditation, eating our lunch, brushing our teeth, being creative, painting, writing, or playing music can get us deeply in touch with the present moment. Mindfulness is available anytime, anywhere.
It's a tool and skill that you can use for the rest of your life, and it's easy through simple daily or not daily exercises.
It just keeps us all just calm and present, and I think that that's healthy for anybody.
It can be beneficial for everyone, and you just have to do it and take everything slowly instead of trying to get through like quickly and do as much as I can, as fast as I can do it. Instead, just enjoy everything you do. Maybe look at life from a more positive perspective.
So I really invite you all to try it, to experience it, and to see for yourself how mindfulness might be able to affect and transform your life.
All right, let's exit here, come back. So mindfulness is paying attention on purpose, such as listening to the sound of the bell, paying attention to physical sensations, paying attention to what you see, what you hear, and in a moment, we're going to pay attention to what we eat. So I'm going to have you pause once again and grab something that you're going to eat and come back with whatever it is that you are going to be holding on to. If you have a stone you want to hang on to, or if you already have something, maybe it's even a stuffed animal. I also happen to have a pillow that I sometimes sit with. It could be something even like that. Something that's going to help ground you and help you feel like you can hang on to something as a further anchor to help you hold your attention and help you be calm. So go ahead and stop once again. Get up, go find your dried fruit or slice of apple or an orange segment. Preferably nothing dry like a chip or a cracker or a cookie. Something that has even a vegetable piece, you could do that, but it's actually vegetables don't work very well with this, so I would not do that. So see what you can find, something to eat. A grape would work really well. And go ahead and pause this and then come on back when you're ready. Now wait a few moments before I resume. All right, welcome back. We're going to do mindful eating right now. I have chosen, I feel like I have the tiniest raisin in the universe here, but here is what I have chosen. And you're going to notice that, and you're going to just follow along with me. What you are not going to do is to pop it in your mouth and eat it. So we're going to approach this with slowness and patience and curiosity. So we're going to pay attention on purpose with patience and curiosity. And it's probably going to mean we're going to bring some kindness in for ourselves, because you might have an urge to just bolt it down and be done with it. So notice those urges to just eat the way we normally might eat. And just allow yourself to slow down a little bit and do this mindful eating like this. And when we're all finished, once again, I'll have some reflection questions for you to think about. Again, I wish I could talk with you in person about this. You can always email me about any of the things that I'm teaching you right now. This is considered a classic mindfulness practice. Believe it or not, it's something that every mindfulness student and teacher learns how to do. All right, so let's begin with the raisin and just hold it in your hand. And I'm going to try to do that. I can't really do that. So hold it in your palm of your hand, but I'm going to hold mine like that. And the first thing we're going to do is just notice. You don't even really have to look at it, but roll it around in your fingers or feel it. What does it feel like? And we're not going to use words like a raisin. We're going to use those descriptive words again. So right away, I notice that it's kind of oblong. And it's not smooth. It's really wrinkled. And it's not an even uniform shape. It almost feels like a triangle. Like parts of it feel flat. So that's what it feels like to me. And this feels a little bit sticky. Like I might want to wash my hands when I'm done. And we're noticing this raisin as if we were from outer space and we'd never ever seen a raisin before. We have no idea what this is. So you're inspecting it with curiosity. So that's what it feels like to me. And you can notice, what does yours feel like to you? Every raisin is different, which is why it's kind of good to do a raisin. But you might also have a grape or a piece of fruit or a cranberry. Notice too the weight of the raisin. Light, heavy. You can notice the shape. If you look at my raisin, it kind of reminds me a little bit of a football in a way, or even a diamond if I hold it like that. But if I move it around, look at that, it looks different on each side. So I'm really examining this as if I could pick it up out of a lineup of raisins. I can see that I have a huge indentation on quite a few of these, like really like crevices almost. You can also examine the color. And I'm tempted just without mindfully looking at it to say, oh, it's black, it's brown. But if I really hold it up to the light and I look at it, I can see it's got tinges of kind of red in it. And I can see that it's kind of shiny in some places. And I can also see some areas are darker, where it's more recessed. And if I were to look at it at the end, it even has a different kind of shape and color from that angle. So it's a pretty interesting raisin to be able to see the shape. I see the size. You might not be able to tell from this, but this raisin is maybe a ½ inch. That's it. Pretty small, really lightweight. I could kind of bounce it around in my hand. Now we're going to use our sense of smell, and we're just going to smell it. Hold it up to your nose and give it a good whiff. And again, what does that smell like? No, we're not going to say it smells like a raisin. Mine smells A little bit sweet. Something kind of musty, maybe. That's not a good word, but I can't quite think of a word for it. What does yours smell like? And then we're going to see if we can hear it. We're going to hold it up to your ear and squeeze it. Can you hear anything with that raisin? This is a surprise. If you're squeezing a grape or an orange, I'm sorry, you have juice all over you right now. This raisin, if you have a raisin, it was like it was crinkling or popping. I could actually hear it when I squeezed it. Now we're going to do a taste. We're going to just simply run our tongue on it. Notice what the tip of your tongue is detecting. You might want to do it again. I'm registering sweet there. You may be registering something else. Pop it in your mouth. Don't chew it. And allow it to sit there. Roll it around on your tongue to different areas of your tongue. See what you register. I'm surprisingly registering some sourness or bitterness in different areas. It feels waxy. What does yours feel like? Rough. If I rub my tongue on it. And kind of waxy. It feels like I don't even have a taste anymore on it. Like the sweetness seems to be gone. I notice that the saliva is starting to come as I'm anticipating, my brain is anticipating eating it. So go ahead and give it one bite and see what happens. Wow. It's like an explosion of taste, of sweetness. Give it another bite. Tastes even sweeter. Then slowly chew it. Chew it all up. Take your time. No need to rush through it. And when you're ready, you can swallow it. So what did you notice? The fruit that you ate or the food that you ate, did it taste like you expected? Did it look like you assumed it looked? Did it smell like you assumed it would smell? Could you hear anything with it? How was this different for you than the way you normally eat? Think about how you normally eat. Do you shove it all in there and gulp it down and run? Are you standing at the countertop and eating it and gulping it and running, or in the car? How would this experience of mindful eating change your eating? What would it be like to pay attention to anything like you just paid attention to this? To give your full attention with using all of your senses. How would that change your approach to lots of things in your life? To pay that kind of attention on purpose, to be present in that way. These are some questions I'd like you to reflect on. So I'm going to have you stop again, take a look at your handout, and you can look at the mindful eating section where it says What was this experience like for you? How is it different from how you normally eat? What if you paid this much attention in other areas of your life? If you slowed it down like that? And what if you had paid attention to yourself and your feelings like this? What if you were curious and you paid attention on purpose to yourself, how you're feeling, what you are thinking, what your body is telling you? How would that change things for you? So stop the recording a moment. Spend some time thinking about this, in particular, the last two questions. What if you paid this much attention to other areas of your life? And what if you paid this much attention to yourself? And then when you're ready, we can come back. So we'll go ahead and resume. I hope you did spend some time writing and reflecting, and maybe you even took yourself a little break from sitting, noticing that you needed to move a little bit, or needed to do something else, or noticing that it was difficult for you to pay attention in this way for a sustained period of time. And now you've taken care of what you need, hopefully, and you're back with me. And we actually are going to do something called mindful movement and mindful walking. This is another traditional way of practicing mindfulness. Because remember, mindfulness is all about paying attention on purpose with curiosity and patience to our physical senses. That is all the data we have to work with, our physical senses. It takes us out of our head, which can cause us so many troubles because we believe all these crazy stories we end up thinking. It takes us out of there into the present moment, because our body can only live in the present moment. Our body is not capable of being in the past or being in the future, but our mind is. Our mind goes back to the past and dredges up all kinds of stuff. Our mind goes to the future and worries about all kinds of stuff. And between the past and the future, that's where stress lies, which is why we pay attention to the here and now in our body in the here and now. And the senses. This is why I have you ground your feet and feel your feet so we can feel our bodies, get into our bodies, out of our heads. It's one of the kindest things you can do for yourself as you're training in this mindfulness practice. So I invite you to follow my direction and follow what you can see on the screen. I'm going to slowly and mindfully move my chair back, and I'm going to have you slowly and mindfully stand, paying attention to every single muscle that it takes to rise, and paying attention to the ground that you're standing on. I happen to be standing on some carpeting, and moving your feet so they're under your hips. And then just close your eyes, take a breath in as I guide you. Standing tall with a straight spine, arms are hanging at the side. You can even circle your shoulders up and back so your shoulders are resting behind you and just hanging. Feel the strength of your legs and your feet that are holding you up. Standing tall like a mountain, as if you're sending the roots into the ground, sending your energy and your grounding into the ground, deep into the ground, to hold you and support you and nurture you. Taking another breath in and a breath out. Another breath in. Another breath out. Being mindful of each breath that you take. Slowly transferring your weight to your left leg as you prepare to lift your right. So you're standing tall and lift your right foot just a little bit off the ground, or have your toe touching if you're not feeling too steady. And bringing that foot up and placing it back on the ground, switching your weight to your right foot. Lifting your left foot just a little bit off the ground, noticing the muscles that contract to do that, and placing that foot back on the ground. And now you can transfer weight from right to left with your breath, breathing in with your right foot up, breathing down with your right foot down. Breathing in with your left foot up, and breathing out with your left foot down. You can continue with your breath and your movement like that. In this point, if you'd like, you can do some mindful walking. And all that means is that you walk slowly, noticing each movement as you raise your foot off the ground and place it in front of you. And you use your breath to move you through. Go ahead and try some mindful walking. In general, if you have 3 or 4 feet available, that's all you really need to have. And then you turn around and you come back. We're going to do this for a few minutes. So go ahead. I will stay in front of the screen as I continue moving in place. Breathing in, breathing out. Mindfully moving your feet and your legs at your own pace. No need to hurry. No need to rush through this. You have no place to go, no place to be at this particular moment. Just be here with your walking and your moving. Breathing in, breathing out. Noticing whatever rhythm you're getting into. Keeping your pace slow and steady. Enjoying maybe even the rocking sensation. This rhythmic movement that you are doing. Noticing that it doesn't matter how fast you go to one side of the room. You'll just turn around and come back. So it's kind of futile to try to move quickly. And just move slowly and mindfully with your breath in and out, up and down, moving your legs and your feet with your breath. Enjoying the calm, letting go of tenseness and tightness, and just walking. Noticing if your thoughts are drifting away and you're thinking of other things and you're back on autopilot. When you notice that you've had a moment of mindfulness, just gently bring your attention back to your breath, back to this movement, kind and slow and gentle, just moving with your breath in whatever way that feels good. In a moment, we will finish. So you can go ahead, finish walking in the room, wherever you are. And begin your walk back towards the screen, the computer. It's almost hard for me to stop right now because I'm really enjoying this. It's really calming to me. When you're back in front, you can bring yourself to a slow stop of movement. And when you're ready, you can have a seat and we'll continue on. Moving mindfully and slowly. Take a moment again to reflect how that went for you. What did you think of it? How is this different than the way you normally walk? I know when I first started learning mindfulness, I was such a busy person and also anxious. I had a really hard time sitting and listening to the meditations. And when we learned mindful walking, it was a gold mine for me. It's like, oh, I can move. I can move mindfully. I could go on a walk outdoors and do that mindfully as I notice walking, as I listen to the sounds around me, as I look at the sights around me. There's so much mindfulness involved with nature. So that's another area you could try later today, is taking a mindful walk, just noticing everything. So once again, I'm going to have you stop the recording and take a look at the soles of feet meditation and answer these questions. What did you notice when you anchored your attention in your feet? And how did it impact your emotional or mental state? In other words, how do you feel after finishing that? All people will be different. There are no right or wrong answers here. It's just however you enjoyed it or appreciated it or experienced it. So please turn off or stop the computer for a moment, pause it, so you can answer this. Again, take a good amount of time. I usually give 3, 4, or 5 minutes for people to reflect on this. The amount of space I have on the handout is rather small, so you can always spill out into the back or other areas. If you are writing it on a piece of paper, you can write as much as you like, even draw a picture of it. So pause the computer and we'll come back in a moment. All right, we're back. I wish I could hear what your experience was. You can always email me if you'd like at teensjustbreathe, Gmail. We're going to move into another classic meditation, and this one involves lying down. So if you're in your bedroom, you can lie down on your bed or find a comfy place on the floor. You might want to find a blanket or a pillow to rest your head on and a blanket to cover yourself with if you're cool, or just to add some coziness. So get yourself comfortable, lie down somewhere. I will be ringing the bell at the beginning and at the end. Some people get so relaxed they fall asleep. So if that happens to you, you just wake up when you wake up and then you come back and you can finish this. We are getting close to the end for today. So make yourself comfortable, lying down. You can sit up, but this is ever so much more enjoyable if you're lying down. So lying comfortably on your back with your hands at your side, allowing your feet to splay open and closing your eyes if that's comfortable. This is called a compassionate body scan. It's one of the practices I'm recommending for you to try tonight, maybe before you go to bed. This helps you become aware of physical sensations in your body, of noticing where there might be tightness or tension, or even pain, or ease and comfort. So this is a way for you to explore what's happening in you. Our body is our first alert system. If we notice Our body is always trying to give us information. If we just can get out of our head and into the rest of us, really sensing what's happening. So part of mindfulness training is being able to feel those physical sensations into our sight, our smell, our hearing, our taste, our touch, and all of the energy flowing through us. So our eyes are closed, we're on our back, arms at our side, and we'll begin. Begin by noticing your whole body lying here resting. Bring in a breath in and out. Seeing if you can simply notice your breath moving gently in and out of your body. Noticing the belly rising and falling with each in-breath and each out-breath. And if it feels comfortable for you, perhaps placing a hand on your heart as a way of bringing a gentle, kind attitude towards yourself. Feeling the warmth of your hand on your chest, take 3 deep, relaxing breaths. Then you can place your arm by your side again, or keep your hand on your chest or belly. Now, shifting your attention from the belly all the way down through your legs, ankles, feet, and onto the soles. Noticing any sensations here in the soles of your feet. Are they warm or cool, dry or moist? Paying attention to your feet like you paid attention to the raisin, as if you've really never noticed them before. And now, shifting your attention to the rest of your feet, noticing any sensations that might be here in your feet right now. Feeling pleasure, pain, or nothing at all. If you notice any sensations of discomfort or even pain, seeing if you can allow yourself to explore this experience with a sense of curiosity, and perhaps mentally soften the area as if you were placing a warm towel on it. If you wish, bring some compassion to the area with words like, "There's a little pain there, and it's okay." And should you find the need to make an adjustment to lessen the pain or discomfort, choosing to move with some awareness, mindfully. Now bring a measure of gratitude to your feet. Your feet have such a small surface area, yet they hold up your entire body all day long. Our feet work hard for us, although we rarely pay any attention to them. If your feet feel good today, you can also extend gratitude for the discomfort that you don't have. As you inhale, shifting your attention from the feet up into the ankles, the calves, and the shins. First on one foot, and then the next. Noticing any sensations that are there, temperature, pulsing, tingling. And as you gaze from one foot to the next, make sure that your awareness is saturated with tenderness, gratitude, and respect for each area of your body. When you notice your mind has wandered, as it will after a few moments, just return to the sensations in your body. If you notice yourself judging any particular part of your body, not liking any part of your body, put your hand on your heart again and breathe gently, and then return to the sensations in the body. Breathing in, breathing out. Now returning to your legs, simply aware of sensations of pressure, contact, or numbness, and aware of how these legs move, taking us from place to place. As you inhale, shifting up to your knees, thighs, and hips, noticing what is here in the way of sensation. Can you bring a measure of gratitude to your legs, hips, and feet for all the support they offer you in each moment? Shifting now into your belly, aware of your body breathing and feeling the breath expanding and contracting as you breathe. Noticing the breath as sensation in your body. Expanding and contracting. Nourishing you with each in-breath and soothing you with each out-breath. Aware of how hard this stomach works to digest. Bringing a measure of gratitude to your belly for all of the work it does for you. And now, shifting your attention to the chest, noticing your lungs breathing in and out, your heart beating. Can you simply feel this body just as it is, breathing, beating, being, offering a moment of kindness to these lungs and heart for much effort they make, keeping you alive. Shifting now into the back and noticing the whole back resting on the floor or bed, aware of any sensations present in this part of the body, aware of your whole spine and nervous system resting in this body, on this floor, in this moment. As you inhale, shifting your attention down both arms into your wrists, hands, and fingers, and simply noticing. As you move from one part of your body to another, return your awareness again and again to whatever sensations are present in the moment. Making sure to bring gratitude, kindness, and respect to each body part, to these arms, to these hands, and to these fingers right now. Now shifting into your neck, throat, and head, aware of this neck that supports your head, this throat that allows for you to talk, to swallow, to breathe, the head and skull that contain your amazing brain, your eyes that can see, your nose that can breathe, your mouth that can eat, your ears that can hear, and your lips that can speak. Shifting your attention into the sensations of your neck, your throat, and your head. Now that you have paid loving attention to each individual part, put your hand on your heart again, or maybe both hands, and give your entire body a final shower of affection and gratitude. Breathe in the softness and breathe out the gratitude. Feeling your body, mind, force of gravity, noticing how important each body part is for you. In a moment, I will ring the bell and you can open your eyes and stretch and wake up and make your way back to finish at the computer. Opening your eyes, rolling to your side for a moment, taking your time. You have all the time in the world before you sit up and you make your way back. Perhaps you decide to just pause right now, take a break, come back to finish. We do have a couple more areas to do before we're done tonight. I'm about ready to give a bit of a talk to you, a short one. We have a here and now stone meditation, and then we have home practice. So a few more pieces for us. So you decide what you need right now, and we will continue in a moment. Before we do that, take a look at your handout and write down your experiences of this body scan. What was it like for you? How did you experience it? Could you feel the body parts? Did you feel any tingling, any warmth, any pain, any ease or softness? Was it difficult to pay attention to certain body parts? Do you find yourself critical of certain body parts, like not liking them? And if that was true, were you able to put your hand on your heart and just go, okay, it's okay, and come back to your breath, or open your eyes to gaze at someplace in the room? Sometimes it can be so hard to pay attention to ourselves on purpose and to notice what we find there in our thoughts and in our bodies and in our emotions. So we treat that with tenderness and kindness, and we move on. So this is an important piece of processing that with your journal, drawing it or writing it, or music with it, whatever your process is. This is the time to do that before we move on. So if you are ready to move on, I'm going to continue on with the next part, which is going to talk about our mind a little bit. Our wandering mind, it's called. And if you look at your handout, you'll see that I didn't write all the information there so that you could take some notes if you'd like along the way. So you're going to want to have a pencil or pen at hand, whatever you've been using to write with, so that you can take a few notes. This will be a short talk, less than 5 minutes, maybe more like 3. So our mind. Our mind is the instigator of so much trouble for us. It wanders, it creates stories, it makes things up. We start believing them and we believe it more and more and more. And before you know, what's not even really true is something we're believing. And it often has to do about us and our quality and others. So that's where the judging piece comes in. And when you practice mindfulness, you'll notice a whole lot of judging. And that's why in mindfulness, we talk about bringing curiosity rather than judgment. We might judge ourselves not good enough. And the curiosity might be, oh, why do I think that? Is there any truth to this? And we can investigate it with curiosity. We are good enough. We are all good enough just the way we are. There's nothing wrong with us. So we can start replacing that inner critic, that critical mind with kinder thoughts. And remember, it's just our mind. It hasn't been trained. It's like a puppy. Puppies wander, puppies don't listen, puppies chew things up and make trouble. They're awfully cute, but if we don't do anything to train that puppy, they are going to be unruly when they grow up and tear apart the house, and they will be the boss of you instead of the other way around. And that's what our mind is like. If we don't take the time to train it, as in mindfulness training, our mind will start getting unruly, just like a puppy. It will start believing things and making up stories and creating all kinds of trouble. So whenever we notice our mind is ruminating, when it gets stuck on a particular topic that's bothering us, or catastrophizing, when we're just making it get bigger and bigger and bigger, and before you know it, it's just out of control and it's consuming us. And what was turned out to be just a tiny little doubt, all of a sudden has become a major truth in our life. So that puppy mind is the wandering mind. That puppy mind is something that's just there until we learn how to train it, until we learn how to work with it, which is just letting our thoughts go. Noticing the thought, not buying into it, not believing it, letting it drift on by, and we bring our attention back to our senses, to the present moment, to this body experience that we live in. We can trust that peace. So when our mind wanders, we're in our default mode. This is just how we were made. There's nothing wrong with us. It's just that we're not using our brain, that prefrontal cortex, as it was intended to be used. So when we're in that default mode network, we're wandering into the future, we're wandering into the past, we're going all over the place except attending to what's happening in the here and now, into the present moment. So that default mode is where our mind goes, past and future. It's there for our survival. That's how we evolved. So we could look for danger, we could look for things that weren't right, watch out for it, be careful. All of those warnings that we're taught at an early age. And we spend a lot of our life engaged in that amygdala, fearful, reactive, default. So when we notice we're in this reactive state with our amygdala in charge, fight, flight, or freeze, we can do the mindfulness breathing. We can attend to what we can see, what we can feel, what we can taste, what we can touch, how our body is feeling, how we're moving. And that brings us out of that default mode. It brings us into our body and out of our mind and into the present moment. It also brings us out of that catastrophic thinking that I mentioned, where thinking snowballs out of control. We believe things that aren't true. We believe things that are not factual, that just can't be proved. We kind of get on the bandwagon. Advertising and political propaganda are good examples of this. We don't really have the real facts in front of us, so we just start making it snowball out of control, just believing whatever we hear. So we can test the truth ourselves for our senses. That's how we determine. Staying in the present moment, as I mentioned, also keeps us from ruminating, from mind wandering, from just allowing our mind to go from here to there and getting stuck. And I don't know if you know this, but I learned from taking mindfulness training that ruminating comes from what a cow does. A cow ruminates. That means a cow chews its cud. It chews the grass or whatever it's eating, swallows it. It brings it back up again to chew it again, swallow, bring it back up to chew it again and swallow. And all of that helps the cow digest. That's what our mind does. It goes over and over and over. We try to analyze it and think it to death. I know we've all had that experience, and we get stuck in this rut. And we don't even know that we're doing it because we're in autopilot. We're in a mindless moment or moments. We spend a lot of our day there. The world would be a lot better place if we could let go of some of that rumination and catastrophic thinking and fear-based thinking. If we could bring ourselves to the moment, to what we can actually attend to, what we can actually experience. And once we start feeling ourselves getting overwhelmed with too much, which is so easy right now for that all to happen, we can let it all go, ground back into our body, go outside, experience nature and all of your senses in nature. Take a break, exercise, sleep, take a nap, talk to friends, do things that will give you a break from that busy mind of yours. The more we can allow that brain to quiet and settle, as in meditation does that for us, the happier we actually are, because we can let go of all of these worries that are dragging us down. We have nothing we can do about things that have happened. We can't continue to beat ourselves up over and over and over again for stuff we've done or said. It's done. As we work through this, we can let it go, come back to our breath, let it go, come back to our breath. We can't do anything about the future either. We have no control over the future. As much as we wish we could control it, and we try so hard to control it, we cannot control the future. All we control is what we have going on with us right this minute. Seconds, 2 or 3 moments, and then we're into the future, and then into the future. So the more we practice on here and now, present moment, the calmer we'll feel, the happier we'll feel, and the better off we will feel. So I've said a lot. You can see that at the bottom of your notes, it talks about reducing anxiety and depression. How can you reduce anxiety and depression, do you think, based on this conversation? How can you reduce your anxiety or your depression? You can let it go. You can attend to what you're feeling and experiencing. Come back to your breath. You can allow just as much as you can contain for just a small amount of time. And open up. Open your eyes, look around the room, name physical sensations, tingling, tightening, heat, coldness, throbbing, pulsing. You can name those sensations. You can name it to tame it and feel it to heal it. You can move if you need to move if it's too strong. Even if you don't feel like moving, you can move, run, exercise, whatever form of movement that you enjoy. Mindful walking is helpful, calming you. Yoga, Tai Chi, Chi-Gong. There's a lot of martial arts that involve the concentration that help center us and help us feel better. So remember, mindfulness and mindful self-compassion means you're shining the spotlight on the here and now, your physical sensations, your senses. You're noticing what's happening. You're not sticking your head in the sand and pretending you don't know and you have no idea. You're noticing and you're naming what's happening. And then you're noticing that everybody has the same stuff going on right now. We all are experiencing hardships. It's difficult for everybody. And what can we do? Soothing touch, give ourselves some kindness, some loving. Take care of ourselves. Notice what we need. If we don't do it for ourselves, nobody else is going to do it. No need to suffer and prolong our suffering. We can be kind to ourselves. The kinder we are to ourselves allows us to be more compassionate and kind to other people. It works like that. So we're going to move into a short ending here for this week or this session. You're going to need your stone. This is just a short grounding practice. So sit up in your chair. Hold the stone or object in your hand. If you happen to have more like a pillow available, that's fine too, whatever you happen to have. I'm going to use the stone. Maybe I'll use the pillow for a little hugging. I'm going to hold on to it for a moment. I'm going to notice what it feels like. I'm going to notice on purpose right now. I'm going to pay attention on purpose. This stone can become like an anchor or grounding agent for me. It gives me another place I can hang my attention. And when I practice meditation, I need all the help I can get sometimes to try to keep myself focused on the present moment. Sometimes when we're beginning, giving your mind a task to attend to is helpful. Something sometimes other than your breath. We can pay attention. We can notice that our mind has wandered, but we can also bring our attention into an object like a stone. So we're going to notice what it feels like and how it fits into our hand. Mine fits pretty nicely, kind of where my hand goes around it. It's kind of heavy, but not real heavy. It's a pretty big size. And it happens to be a Petoskey stone, so this was a prize to find. I can notice the smoothness of it as I put it in my hands. It's been worn smooth by water and sand over the centuries. I can notice the shape of it. It's almost triangular in shape. And if I turn it and examine it a little bit, it becomes a bit of a circle. So noticing the shape, the size, the smoothness or texture of it. And now notice the color and the design. Is it the same on each side? Does it have shadows and light? And as I examine this and look at the color and the shape and the size, I can kind of sense some appreciation for having something like this, that this is just so beautiful. You might even notice the age and think about the age of this stone. It's hundreds of years old. It's been around when it first was formed. What was life like way back then? Notice our connection to life with the stone. We're just all part of the circle of life. We all belong. We all have a part to play in this life. We're all important. Looking at this stone, there is no worry, there's no regret. It's just a stone that we can admire, hang on to when we practice some meditation. It can be sitting by our meditation spot. So we'll finish. You can, when we're finished here, notice your journal question, which has to do with what did you notice with this stone? Would you think about using it as an anchor? And we'll finish with what you need to do tonight. So again, I would like you to make sure that you find a place, a time for you to do this practice. Your choices are a compassionate body scan before bed, I would recommend. It's a very relaxing way to go to sleep. You could do mindful walking too. If you go outside and do mindful walking, or in your room if you liked it. Or you could just sit with your stone or whatever anchor that you chose. On your handout, you'll see that I'm having you write down to commit when and where and what you will listen to before you move away. Getting this habit started is hard to do, like any habit, but like any healthy habit, it is so good for you. And it's a perfect time to do it in this age of trouble and tension and trauma that we're all in. It's a perfect time to give yourself these skills and even to share these skills. Share the video with your family. Everyone can watch this. Everybody can benefit. Everybody can practice it. It's a very short introduction, but it's a beginning. It's a planting of the seeds. It's a lot to take in, and you could watch this again and again. So I want you to spend a moment to think about, what did you learn in this session? What can you take away with you? We talked about mindfulness being paying attention to the present moment with patience and kindness and curiosity. We talked about the importance of training this puppy mind of ours so we don't believe everything we think. We talked about getting out of autopilot into our body, into the moment. We did that by practicing mindful eating, mindful walking, mindful smelling, mindful touching. We did that by practicing the body scan. These are all traditional mindfulness practices that you can practice over and over and over again. And as I mentioned, you can find these practices in the handouts. You can also find them on my website, teensjustbreathe.com, underneath Youth Summer Classes, High School Guided Meditations. So go to Teens Just Breathe, and you can find the meditations there. You also might have been given a Dropbox copy, and so you can access it that way. So there's lots of ways to get these. I do hope that you will go ahead and commit to a practice every single day for 10 minutes. And after 2 weeks, email me and let me know what kinds of changes you've seen in yourself, or maybe changes that other people tell you they've seen. Because 2 weeks of daily practice starts to make a difference in your brain. 4 weeks of practice makes a definite difference in an MRI. You can see the change in a person's brain just by doing 10 minutes a day. You can do it. So I will see you again. Good luck. Have a good evening. And thank you for sticking with this. You deserve it.